On behalf of the Personal Trainers Council of New Zealand, I'd like to welcome you to today's webinar, Professional Excellence as a Personal Trainer. Your presenters today are Hilary Blackstock and Sher Hunter. Now, as per usual, if you've got any questions throughout the webinar today, please just pop it in the questions box on the GoToWebinar panel, and I'll feed those questions through to our presenters. So without further ado, I'd like to present Hilary Blackstock and Sher Hunter for today's webinar.
Hi everybody, it's Cher here. How you guys going? Hills, you there?
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. Right, I'll just get started straight away. I just want to tell you how so very important it is that you adopt the standards of professionalism necessary to give the public confidence in your ability to provide a dependable and world-class program. You want to deliver an experience every time you see that client. So sometimes we'll start to see our clients and we get maybe a bit slack, we start carrying around a cell phone. This is not professional excellence. We want to keep it up every single time, looking professional all the time. Making that commitment to professional excellence in every single thing that you do. If you think about it, most of us are charging around about the same amount per hour. There's some people that charge a bit more, a little bit less. What sets you apart from the rest? So think about that. When your PT client rocks up to you, obviously it's going to be, what you're teaching and your personality and how well you get along. But what are the little things, the added value that you can give to your clients? In my studio, my clients show up, they've got a nice, lovely, white, clean towels that they can use, and, their fresh glass of water that gets replenished. They always have a snack for after. They can take anything out of the library that they would like. So those are little things that I can share with my clients that are added value for when they come along. Do you have things like that you do, Hilary?
Yeah, I do. I have all those things, and I think also between sessions, keeping that rapport up with your clients. I try and always, keep in touch with text or phone or email, especially if they're a client that I only see once a week or less frequently. Kind of just keeps that relationship going.
I think you're absolutely right with that, and being well presented is always really important. When they rock up to the house, no matter what time of day it is, or to your studio or to the gym or wherever you meet them, when you rock up to their place, it's good to be looking professional and feeling confident when you see them, even if you've had a rat day.
Yeah, I think the way...
Go ahead, Hill, sorry.
I think the way that you look, shows your personality, but it also shows professionalism and also how much energy you've got. So, yeah, your image that you portray at a session and outside of sessions is always noticed by people, even if sometimes you don't think it is.
Absolutely. Even when you're down at the pub, you've got to be really walking the walk and talking the talk. I think we've talked about that before. And treating others like you want to be treated as well. All your written work should also look clean and tidy and be well thought out and presented. Don't you agree, Hilary?
Yeah, for sure. I think that that's really important, and it leads on to our second point, really, in having really clear, good-looking paperwork. I was really lucky when I first started out. I won a design competition and managed to have someone set up my logo and all my professional work stuff for me. But it went a long way, I think, just having real consistency with paperwork. For most trainers, paperwork's probably not our favourite time of the day.
But keeping it is a great point, you're right. And some things that you can do, especially when you're first starting out. And how many of you out there are actually first starting out? Can you guys message us and let us know so we can be talking on the right sort of level for you? Can you guys type in there and message to us? It'd be really good to find out who's new in the business. I'll just wait for a little response, but I'll rattle on for a minute about getting together the branding and your cards and the look of your business branded on branded clothing, things like that, all that sort of paperwork. It's really important. Keeping your file straight, looking after your forms when your clients come to you, making everything, from one client to the next, they've got the same sort of thing going on. There's Vistaprint is really easy and cheap, and I've had heaps of things through there. I now have a printer that does everything for me, but when I first started out, that was a really great way to quickly get branded. And I even discovered a website called Fiverr, Fiverr.com, and you can get people to draw up a logo for like $5. So it's pretty amazing. And most of the stuff that's come through has been really great. So yeah, just thought I'd pass on those little tips for you. Anything else on
really
paperwork, Hill?
I'm probably a bit nerdy about my paperwork. It's not my favourite thing to do, so I make sure I've got a system so that I don't miss things out. And I have people that need clear progress reports, and so I think having a system to keep those things flowing smoothly just makes it a little bit easier. It's less that you've got to think about and concentrate on. And if you've set up the template, then they're a lot easier just to file through nice and quick.
That sounds great. Thanks, Hills. I can see from the responses we've got some newbies and we've got people that are just starting their new business. Congrats to Vicky on the 5th, so that's fantastic. You'll be out there kicking some butt. Now we'll go on to client confidentiality. So important. I think the best way to talk about this one is maybe to tell you a little story about a client I had. I'd been seeing him for quite a while, and then I started a walking group, and I hadn't been seeing that particular client for a little while, but the walking group, I'm going along and I'm chatting to one of my elderly ladies in the walking group, and she starts going on about her son, and I'm thinking, gosh, this guy sounds really familiar. How small is this town? And had I been open and talking, about my client, I actually would have spilled the beans on a few things that he had told me in confidence, and I'm very, very happy that I don't. I keep that really. I think it's really important to keep it to yourself. His mum told me a few things about her son that I'd been training, and it actually gave me a bit of information. And after she had, and I clicked, I actually said, "Excuse me, that's cool. I'm going to go and chat to the next client," because it got a little funny where I didn't want to know too much information. But yeah, very important to keep the confidentiality between what your client has to say to you, who they are, their identity, who they work for, all of that. It's up to them to let anyone else know if they're working with you. And I find my clients really enjoy that confidentiality. They actually are the ones that can't wait to introduce me to someone else. Well, once it's out, hello, it's great. So their friends are then rocking up after they've introduced me and said, oh, this is my PT. So anything about client confidentiality for you, Hel?
No, I think that pretty much covers it all. I find that it's amazing how many times you can be just out and about and not working and be in a queue somewhere and you'll hear people talking and you don't hear names, but you can still work out who they're talking about if you know them. So it's really important to keep that client confidentiality without, mentioning about a person, because you never know who, whether that person's going to be able to be identified by who you're talking to.
Absolutely, you're correct in that. So that's great. So what have we got next on there? Being positive.
Yeah, I find this one really important. And also I think it varies between your clients. You probably find that, some clients you use a different language to other clients, and that's just how your rapport is developed and how you negotiate that relationship with your clients. I always find I've got a couple of elderly clients that when I text, I have to be really careful to text full words, but I've also got other clients who really struggle if I send full words and would prefer, short text language.
That's a really good note, Hills. I think, when we are talking to your clients, like you say, we need to build that rapport, like you've said as well, but also, speak their language. So if somebody is using shortened words, like you say, or probably from old school, they're a bit more proper. I'm just backing you up on that. I think it's so very, very important. Even when you've got a client that does come to you and they are maybe a bit negative, this whole positive thing, you can turn that around to a positive. So when we're matching, we can still use their language, but then to be able to turn it around to a positive aspect, I think that's really important.
It is, yeah, for sure. I agree with that. And I think another thing that's really important when you're speaking to clients is to not bag the opposition. And I don't see a lot of other PTs as opposition, but I guess some people would. it's really important to be positive about what you can offer without, disrespecting other trainers that might be around.
Definitely. That is a really valid point too. Undermining the opposition only makes you look bad in the end. Everybody's got a different way about things, and somebody will come to you sometimes and say, oh, so-and-so said this, it's a terrible thing, because they've now left that person. So regardless of whether, they were treated poorly or not, you can identify and say, oh, I'm sorry you feel that way. Validate their feelings, but be very, very careful not to jump on board, like Hillary said. I think that's a really important fact to keep.
And I think being positive in general is really good for keeping up your clients' energies.
For sure. Positive energy itself spreads, doesn't it? You see, if somebody puts something on Facebook that's quite negative, it brings the whole mood down, and you get all these other negative comments. And you turn around, if you put something positive out there, you can actually really lighten people's world. And it is about the energy equation. And we want to, as PTs, I think, be that positive energy out there in the planet. So, yeah, good thing to remember. Absolutely. I might move on to keeping yourself current. What do you think about that? Now, as a PT, if your rep's registered, we have to keep our CPDs up, and that's continued professional development. We have to do 30 credits a year. You get 20 for working in the industry, and then you need to pick up another 10. So there's a lot of ways that you can do that. But what we've done just locally, I'm the local rep for Marlborough and Nelson, is I asked my PTs, well, what do you want? What do you want to learn about? And then I went out and sourced a course that they were after. It's so important to keep up with what's happening around the industry, because you'll have a client come to you and they've been sold right down the track of, the latest diet or fad, and you've really got to know what that's about, have your formed opinion about it, and be able to help them on the correct path for themselves. I think you can go industry meetings, make sure you go to your PT Council meetings. There's a lot of stuff that's put on by the District Health Board, and often they're free courses, and I hop into those all the time. And it's quite fun too to challenge, the people that are there with the ideas and thoughts that you have, and it becomes more of a discussion and a really good forum, and it's a good way to actually make an inroads with the health departments. So that's a great thing to go and attend as well. You attended anything great lately, Hillary?
Not recently. We've tried to put on a few sessions for trainers locally as well as part of the PT Council. Last year we had a social media lady come and speak to us. We had a psychologist come and talk to us. But I think the biggest thing for me is that all these courses look amazing, and it's really hard because they're expensive to pick and choose. And so I think for me, by narrowing my target market, made making those choices a lot easier, because I could just really quickly glance at what a course was about and say, yes, it'll benefit me and my clients, or no, it won't. And if it didn't add value, then it wasn't something that I stressed over and needed to attend. And it just made those decisions a lot easier.
That's a really good idea. Yeah, keep it to your target market. And we did talk about that in the last webinar. Just touching on that again. Your target market will be from your life experience. It'll be what you're passionate about. It'll be what makes you a little bit more unique again. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. If it's free, though, I'll tell you, rock on up, because that's always great.
For sure, yeah. The other thing I think I found quite beneficial, and some people I know feel uncomfortable doing it in their local area, but go to another trainer and learn from the experience.
Absolutely.
The exercises might be the same, but it's really, I just found it awesome to just go and have another session with a trainer. They don't need to know that you're a trainer. Sometimes hard in your local area, but if you're on holiday, just give a trainer a call and rock up and see what you can learn.
And even still, if they do know you're a trainer, work out a barter system. I see a trainer every week, and we work out a barter system where I train them and they train me on 2 separate days. And so we're both getting some training. We're both picking up tips from each other, and it's a friendly competition where they're kind of, sharing a few things with me, and I share a few things with them, and before you know it, we've both actually bettered our business. We've made a much better job of how we react with our clients and interact with our clients, and we both get our butts kicked once a week, so it's quite good.
Right, that's cool. I think going back to your DHB courses, Sher, it's a really good way to build networks and increase your professional reputation by being seen as someone who's trying to learn and is up to date with the medical profession.
Definitely.
Do you find that when you attend those courses?
Absolutely, and it's helped me with inroads into the medical profession. I've actually got a local doctor's surgery that's referring to me, and that's kind of unheard of when you first get into the business. But it is about building your reputation, being completely, see through. Like I say, well, this is what I'm going to do, and I will show you the results before and after, and being all right to answer all their questions. And yes, so I've got quite a few courses that I'm holding now in partnership with the District Health Board. And it's taken a bit of time to build your reputation, but there's a lot of ways that you can do that and become a credible personal trainer in your area. And it goes back to the first point we made in professional excellence: carry yourself well, back up what you have to say, walk the walk, talk the talk, look professional as well. So yeah, and keeping good paperwork. I have to say, I'll be honest, that is one of my biggest downfalls is I don't love the paperwork. I think most of us PTs are so hands-on. We're, not into that side of things so much. But, find someone that can do it for you if your business is built big enough. If that's not your forte, find someone who can do it for you, and that will help you with your business as well. What else are we talking about here, Dave? Increasing your professional reputation. I used to write a article for the paper, and that helped a lot. And it was just basically talking about fitness routines and things that people could do, the 5-minute this, the 7 tips about this, just bits and pieces. And it was a free article that I put out, but they put my byline and photo in there, so that increased that my reputation in our general area.
Yeah, there's just, and when you think about the links and the networks you can have with medical professions or health professionals that'll help your business, there's just so many of them. And it does depend, I guess, again, on your target market and who you work with, but there's physios, there's massage therapists, there's health food shops or supplement places, the green prescription team, podiatrists, sports shoe places. It's endless. It's kind of up to your imagination and what sort of people you're working with as to what, where the benefit lies for both of you.
I remember running a marketing campaign with a jeans company when I first started personal training, and the people would get a rebate on their jeans as they lost sizes, and they'd bring them back to that shop if they were that brand. So that was really cool. And so that's just thinking outside the square again.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
And of course, then that shop was promoting me, and I was, had my little box up there, and they could, people could come into that shop, and it's just another platform for me to actually promote myself. And it was a great shop. They sold great jeans. They fit really nicely, and when you've lost a bit of weight or you've toned up, it's nice getting a nice fitting pair of jeans. So it was a win-win situation.
Brilliant.
So take up the challenge of the opportunities that are put out in front of you. Sometimes things will be put out in front of you and you think, oh God, I don't know if I want to do that, or that's a bit scary, or that sounds like I don't know enough yet. And especially for your new ones, don't be worried about that sort of thing. One foot in front of the other. Ask your other PTs around you for some support. Ask your local rep for some support. Find yourself a mentor, someone that's been in the industry for a while. Ask them for support. And often if you've been approached with something, that person's got confidence that you've got what it takes. Now, you might not know all the roads and pathways to get there, but the best thing to do then is to ask. So even if it's the person that's asked you to do the presentation, or come speak to the netball team, or whatever it may be. Come talk to the Rotary group. Say, okay, well, what would you like? What are you envisioning? Don't be worried about asking those questions back. One of my contracts that I got, had I marched in there and said to them, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I think they would have sent me out the back door. But because I asked them, I said, well, what do you actually need? We were able to come up with a solution for them, and they thought, wow, this lady doesn't mind, letting us lead the way, and then we get the presenter that we wanted. So it's just something to think about. Don't back down from an opportunity. I think we've got a whitewater rafting sitting there. If you get the opportunity to go out and do something like that, do it. Challenge yourself on a regular basis. We're asking our clients to do it all the time. And when you're thinking outside the square as well with your clients, don't be afraid to come up with a crazy challenge that's going to get them from point A to point B and go along with them. I think the most important thing that you can do with your client is to be there with them. Adherence, to get someone to stick to a program, the biggest thing that you can do is do it with them. And they find that people will then stick to the program. They're 70% more likely to do it if you're there with them. Any more on that, Hillary?
I think it's just a massive learning opportunity. Putting yourself out of your comfort zone is one of the biggest ways that you can grow and develop as a person and as a trainer. I know, if you think back to something that you thought, oh, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it, and then you've done it, how amazing you feel afterwards. And so that's something to keep in your mind. If someone does offer you an opportunity and you say, oh, I can't do it, rather than saying you can't do it, think about how awesome you're going to feel when you do it, and then take a step back and say, what do I need to learn to get myself to do it? And so, yeah, great learning and great confidence building, kind of like me doing this webinar.
Good on you, girl. You're doing an awesome job, too.
Yeah, so much for staying behind the scenes.
Good on you.
But I actually feel okay now, so give me another 10 minutes and I'll be celebrating.
Do things in and out of the industry, I think, is your next one there, Hill.
Yes, stay inspired. Most of us have got something that we're passionate about outside of the fitness industry, and I don't know about you, Cher, but I think that's really, really important. It gives you another outlet to grow and develop, and it also gives you something to talk to your clients about, because if fitness and health is all you do, that's great, but a lot of our clients aren't like that, and so to have a rapport and a conversation with them about something outside of the industry is really cool.
I absolutely agree. When I am seeing groups or weight loss groups, one of the biggest things about getting someone to recognize their own self-worth is feeding that self-worth with, like you say, extracurricular activities, have a life, like you say. I sing, and that's what buzzes me out. That's my thing. One of my clients, she's right into cooking, and I mean, she can cook. This woman can cook, which is awesome. I love that because it's so associated to nutrition. So we've gotten her, cooking, and she's out there demonstrating that for other people and really enjoying spreading her knowledge, but using it in the way that she loves to express herself. And, maybe it's kayaking, maybe it's painting. It doesn't really matter what it is, but you're right, it's about the balance, isn't it?
And just having passion for something else, I think, is, really important. I find, for me, it's gardening, and, there's a bit of a link with food there, because at the moment I do only grow what I can eat.
Yes,
but I have a lot of elderly clients, and that's, I have learned so much about gardening from them. I don't think my garden would have survived without my PT business.
Fair enough. I just see Jamie Bennett volunteers for the ambulance. That's awesome, Jamie. Good on you. That's really cool. That's one of our people listening in today. So that's great. I know another lady that volunteers at the SPCA because they absolutely love animals, but their business is so busy they can't actually have a pet. So they're down at the SPCA volunteering. That's really cool.
Great idea.
Now, speaking of awesome people, we're just going to challenge you guys listening in to be the best that you can be and be true to yourself. And 3 amazing women that that's all I can say about them. They have been true to themselves, and there's a lot of industry experience there. But Jean Scott, what's Kate's last name?
Grace.
Kate Grace, that's right, and Mish McCormick, and they're just absolutely inspiring women. They're personal trainers, and where are they right now, Hillary?
London.
Woohoo! And they are representing New Zealand. They're in the top
10?
Sorry?
Top 10,
I think it's the top 10 in the world, and we have 3 from New Zealand that are representing personal trainers. So strive for the best. You know, when they sent through the industry awards and said, you guys should apply, I spoke to 2 of the women, and they're friends of mine. They're saying, oh, I don't know, you know, it's up against the world. Look at them go. They're out there in London now representing. So set your sights high and go for it. And that was really going back to, you know, do things out of, number 7, putting yourself out there. They really did put themselves out there, and look how far they've gone. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I
So
think
shout
it's
out
going to be,
girls.
Yeah, they'll be awesome and they'll rock it. And if you do want to tune in, I think we can watch it live tonight from 9 o'clock online. So that'll be good.
Sounds great. If we can find a link for that, we'll pop it up on the PT Council website. So any of you that want to find it, we'll see what we can do about popping that up there. Now we've got about 5 minutes to go, so we'd like to actually open it up for any questions that you guys have got. Do you want to send through any questions? In the meantime, before I get any questions coming through, I might waffle on a bit back and make our points again. So number 1 would be making a commitment. Have clear, good-looking paperwork. Love it. Number 3 was most important to keep your confidentiality with clients. Really important that. Number 4, being positive. Number 5, keep yourself current in the industry. Learn, and learn some more. Be up with the play when your clients come and say, what about eating grass all day? You can say, probably not, but people have done it, I understand. Number 6, think about your networks and your reputation. Number 7, we've got put yourself out there. Take up challenges and opportunities. And the last but not least, do things out of the industry that inspire you to develop as a person, as a human being. Be the best that you can be and be true to yourself.
Yeah, know what's important to yourself. Know what your values are and know what's important to you.
Yeah, fair enough too. I've got a question here that I can answer. How does the green prescription work for clients and PTs? So the green prescription is given to people at the doctor's surgery because they feel that there may be an opportunity for this person to improve their life with lifestyle changes. Green prescription is run by the DHB or part of it, part of your primary health. And they have the contract for that. They've got a lot of groups that are running, and to get in and alongside, that's a different story. It's quite hard work as a PT, but they're a great support to the system, and you may develop a program that can fit in and help out with the green prescription. You may go to your local district health board and speak to them about how you can help out with that. Becoming a green prescription provider, I think, is a bit of a challenge, but if any of you guys want to go and do it, let me know how you get on with that one. Referring to them, though, is a fantastic resource. And I'm just looking at the next question. Can you please list some other jobs as PTs outside of being a contractor in a gym? Yeah, cruise ships for sure. And cruise ships would be a dream job. I do know a few people that have been on the cruise ships. They've had a wicked time, so that's really cool. And there are jobs out there. If you go to your local port, you can ask around and find out, you know, about super yachts as well. I've heard of people having an amazing time being like personal chefs, personal trainer, that sort of thing. I know a local PT here in our area, and I mean, we're in the playground, which is pretty nice, and she has a few clients that are from overseas, and when they come from overseas, she goes to the resort and she looks after them. So think about resorts maybe. And it's just really doing some homework.
Yeah, pick what your dream is and then ask questions around that area.
There's another question there, Hills. Is there a rep in Hamilton or somewhere we can connect to other PTs? I don't believe we have a rep in Hamilton.
We used to have a rep in Hamilton, Alison Story,
Okay.
but she's no longer a rep. I'm probably the closest. Oh, there's one in Auckland, or there's me in New Plymouth. And I'm not sure if there's a plan to get someone back in Hamilton, but we can definitely probably find out.
Do you want to pop your email address on there, Hillary?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yep, that'd be great. And then maybe they can get in touch with you. And,
yeah, that's a good idea. And then I can find
great.
out and let them know.
That's awesome. Oh, perfect. And I'm hoping everybody gets that little list that we've just, otherwise it's blackstockh@gmail.com. And if anybody wants to flick me an email, it's share@somebody.co.nz. Wonderful. Well, I don't see any more questions come through. I hope I haven't missed anybody. I'm just going to scroll through and see if I've missed anyone there. No, we should be good. Very good. Do you have anything else to add today, Hillary?
No, I don't think so. I think, think about what what makes you excited and provide that for your clients.
That sounds great. Sounds like a great idea. I don't know if any of you out there have actually walked the walk yourself as well, but think about, if you've lost weight or if you have gained fitness, if you've made those lifestyle changes, think about those things and think about the people who inspired you to finally make that choice. And if you can get into the minds of the psychology of what's going on there, you're more likely to get your clients to adhere to what you're trying to preach to them. And don't be afraid. Being professional does not mean that you're upstanding or that people can't approach you. You can tell them all about yourself. Real life events will help inspire them if you want to share that sort of thing. And I think often they're quite happy to find out we are human.
Yeah, for sure. It's not an unattainable. Sometimes I think they look at us and think that, the way we live is unattainable, but if they know where we've come from or what we've achieved, then we do seem a little bit more human and can be more inspiring to them.
Definitely. Now I see that Stephen Gaskell has posted up www.lifefitness.com/personal, and that's the link that you can go to if you'd like to watch the awards tonight for where we've got 3 top PTs in New Zealand competing. Miss Jean, Miss Kate, and Mish. And on that note, I believe that we're about ready to wrap that up. Thank you so much for coming along today, you guys. It was really awesome that you've tuned in, and wonderful to see so many new people out there in the industry that are popping in. The more we've got together with us, the more that we can be on this side of preventative health. So it's really exciting that